So do you want to be blinded by the light? Watcha! So I'm going to stay like right here and try really, really hard not to move so I don't accidentally blind you. Although this is intended to be an audiobook, so, just listen to the dulcet tones of my voice. We are reading A Change of Tide. We are in chapter 22. It is 2 days after Christmas, and we're gonna see what happens next. So here we go. Let's just jump right in. Chapter 22, Thursday, December 27th. December 27, 2008. By the way, my kids have watched Sandlot and are outside the blinding window playing baseball. They have 9 bases, a broken lightsaber, and a baby shark ball. Anyway, so you might hear some moanings and groanings and whatnot. Also, I'm 97% sure that my 7-year-old is really trying hard to get a black eye. Like, that's actually his goal. Which sounds like that's crazy, but I spent all of 5th grade trying to break my leg because one of the kids at school that I thought was really cool broke her leg. And I thought that would be cool. And I wanted a cast and I wanted crutches. I was unsuccessful. So hopefully he's as successful as I was. All right, December 27th, 2008. Today's the day we get Nelly on our side. Hopefully. I'm over at Madame Ortega's place with Emma. We're prepping everything for the seance. I just finished putting the candles and stones in their corresponding circles on the table. Emma invited Nelly over and told her we could communicate with Jess Pedersen, her ancestor, due to Emma's grandma being a medium. I think she remembered the story I told her about Madame Ortega helping that little girl's family. We mostly told her the truth, and we are tricking her a little bit. She has no idea she's coming over for a seance, but I'm hoping the outcome of the seance will be enough to help her look past our minor deception. If not, then we might have blown our last shot at saving the world. Nikki clicked her tongue and closed her journal. The 2 girls were in the living room, each on one couch. Emma's favorite yellow dress draped across the couch like a queen's train. Meanwhile, Nikki sat cross-legged on her couch with books and papers sprawled all around her. She was in her usual yoga pants and a t-shirt. Her hair was up in a messy bun on the top of her head. Oh my gosh. Hey, Nelly just sent me a text and said she's on her way, Emma told Nikki. Good, Nikki said, beginning to gather her papers. Her phone rang. After digging through her bag to find it, she looked at it and groaned. You've got to be kidding. She answered the call. Mom, I'm at Madame Ortega's house, just like I told you I'd be, Nikki said, as calmly as she could, glancing at Emma and frowning. Well, you need to come home now, Margaret snapped from the other side of the phone. I can't. They need me, Nikki said, not daring to mention the seance. Nonsense. Be home in 5 minutes. But 5 minutes or else, Margaret said. She hung up. Nikki clenched her jaw, closing her eyes and taking a deep breath before looking at Emma. I have to go. My mom. She shrugged by way of explanation. I'll call Gabby, Emma said, and don't be too hard on her, she added. I know it doesn't feel like it all the time, but you're lucky to still have her around. Yeah, I know, Nikki said, her insides squirming. Let me know how it goes. Will do. December 27th, 2008. I saw Wyatt last night. I must have apologized like a million times. I still feel like crap for not checking on him sooner. But everyone, including Wyatt, told me to lay off. He mostly slept, but for the part he was awake, he didn't talk to me. Not like he wouldn't, but couldn't. The smoke did a number on him. He's under doctor's orders to take it easy on talking. His mom got him a little whiteboard and some markers. He better heal up quick or learn to write more clearly. Otherwise, he's sunk. In other news, I'm getting ready to go to Madame Ortega's house. Never thought I'd go back to that creepy shack. But Emma said her grandma can talk with Jess Pedersen. And if I'm going to do this mermaid thing properly, I figure I can use all the help I can get. Dad didn't have any luck in his search. Nelly hadn't been able to write her true hope for the visit. She had barely allowed herself to think it. If Madame Ortega could visit with Jess, then maybe, just maybe, a visit with Melinda, Nelly's mom, would be possible. The thought, though exciting, held a lot of potential pain, so Nelly did what she always did with anything that could cause her potential pain. She took a deep breath, shoved it as far down as it would go, all the while hoping if she ignored it long enough, it would disappear into the abyss. With time and experience, she would eventually learn this never worked. Nelly arrived at Madame Ortega's house and ambled out of her truck. She had thrown a hoodie over her t-shirt and, despite the chill in the air, still had on her red Bermuda shorts. Heading to the front door, she took another deep breath. She knocked before she lost her nerve. The door opened almost immediately. "Hi, come on in," Emma gestured into the house. "Hi," Nelly said awkwardly, stepping through the door. Nikki was here, but she had to go. Rochelle, my aunt, called Gabby, and she's on her way. We technically don't need a witch to do this, but it's a lot easier with one, Emma explained, rubbing her fingers on her left hand. "What happened to your arm?" Nelly asked, noticing the cast for the first time. "Long story," Emma said, spreading and closing the fingers on her casted hand. "The short version is, I broke my wrist." "Emma," Rochelle called from the kitchen, "teach Nelly her part." Emma looked back at Nelly. "Remember how I told you we can communicate with Jess?" "Well, we can through a seance." "A what?" Nelly asked, running a hand through her hair. "Think of it like a telephone call to the other side," Emma said. "It's nothing scary, and we have precautions built into our ceremony. Your part is putting a jar of flowers on the word west." Emma pointed to the spot on the table. "Then you say chrysanthemum to the west for protection and survival." "Survival?" Nelly repeated, grimacing. Just then, Gabby came in through the front door. "Merry meet, Emma," Gabby said. She was wearing a long, cream-colored dress. Her maroon braids were styled in an elegant twist. "Merry meet, Gabby," Emma said, hugging her. They broke the embrace. "Thanks for coming. Nikki was going to stay, but—" "Her mom?" Gabby guessed. Emma nodded and said, "Gabby, this is Nelly." But before Emma could say any more, there was a knock at the door. Emma opened it and was greeted by her grandmother carrying a brown paper bag with flowers poking their blossoms out of the top. "Is there another in the car?" Emma asked. "Yes, be a dear and grab it, would you?" Ethel said, carrying the bag into the kitchen. Nelly glanced at Gabby, who started arranging flowers in jars. "Are you a real witch?" The question spilled out of Nelly before she had a chance to think about it. "If you mean, can I do magic and do I have special powers? Then yes. If you're wondering if I own a black cat, ride a broom, and turn naughty children into frogs, then you'd be right on 2 accounts," Gabby said, smiling. When Nelly didn't say anything, Gabby added, "I have a cat. He is black, but he's also white. I'll let you decide which other is the truth." "You ride a broom, don't you?" Nelly said, a memory unfolding in her mind. "I saw you one time. I was in the library with my parents. I could have been more than 6. Mom was picking out a few books, and I saw you on the top of the broom I saw you sitting on top of a broom like it was a bench. You were shelving, but when I turned around to show my mom, you were sweeping." "Melinda was a sweet lady," Gabby said with a soft smile. "She came to the library often." "How come I look older, but you look the same?" Nelly asked. "Magic does wonders for the skin." Gabby winked and squeezed Nelly's shoulder before turning her attention back to the flowers. Emma brought the bag of flowers the other bag of flowers in from the car. Once all the flowers were placed in their respective jars, they were passed around the room. "Excuse me. Now, Nelly," Ethel said, a jar of flowers in each hand. "We're going to contact your ancestor, Jess Pedersen. There will come a time when I will need you to repeat exactly what I say, all right?" Nelly nodded, too nervous to speak. She held her jar firmly with both hands. "Emma," Ethel said, gesturing to her granddaughter. "Clover to the east for love, luck, and success," Emma said, placing her jar on the word east carved into the table. "Carnations to the west for strength and energy." Ethel placed one of her 2 jars. "Nelly?" Chrysanthemum to the," Nelly said, her nerves besting her memory. "West," whispered Emma. "Chrysanthemum to the west for protection and," Nelly faltered, took a deep breath, and remembered, "for protection and survival." Ethel nodded. Red geranium to the south for guests and protection. Buttercup to the north for divination and energy, but Gabby said, placing her jar to cover the N-O in the word north, carved into the tabletop. Daisies to the north for protection. Rochelle set her jar to cover the rest of the word. Emma, Ethel said, the opal? Right here. Emma pulled the iridescent stone from her pocket. Gabby, the lights, Ethel said. Gabby waved a hand, closing drapes, turning off electric lights and lighting all the candles except the brown one. Everyone take hands, Ethel instructed. Gabby at the north. I'll stand to the east, Emma and Rochelle stand to the south, and Nelly stand at the west. Everyone held hands except Emma and Ethel, who looked at Emma. Ready? Emma asked. Gabby nodded. Emma put the opal in the same circle as the brown candle. At the same moment, Gabby lit the candle with a small breath. Emma and Ethel took hands as soon as the opal was out of Emma's hand. The change in the room was immediate and tangible. Nelly felt odd, as though she was suddenly alive but hadn't known it until just now what that meant. She could feel everything. She could hear her blood running through her veins. She could feel Gabby and Rochelle's respective heartbeats in her hands. What was weirder was the fact that she could tell them apart. She recognized the soft pitter-patter as Gabby's heart and the tri-beat march as Rochelle's. It's the spirit world, Emma said, reading her friend's expression. We're going to call Jess, Ethel said. Nelly, you repeat after me. Okay, Nelly found her initial nervousness calmed by her newfound sense of life. Souls of the earth, the fire, the water, the air, we call you to send us your sister Jess Pedersen, Ethel said, and then nodded to Nelly, who promptly repeated the call. Emma looked around, waiting for the wind that always accompanied a seance. Ethel said, Souls of the future, the present, the past, and those of possibility, we call you to send us your sister Jess Pedersen, again nodding at Nelly. Nelly repeated. Together, Ethel said, all five of them repeated the entirety of the call as one. A gust blasted around the room. Nelly's hair, short as it was, whipped around in the wind, forcing her to squint. Emma's face was hidden in blonde hair and colorful braids. They continued chanting, Souls of the earth, the fire, the water, the air, we call you to send us your sister Jess Pedersen. Souls of the future, the present, the past, and those of possibility, we call you to send us your sister Jess Pedersen. The wind blew harder and harder. Everyone had their eyes squeezed shut as they shouted to be heard above the wind. Jess, if you can hear me, I'm your descendant. I'm a mermaid. Please speak with us, Nelly yelled. The wind dropped almost immediately, and everyone opened their eyes. Keep holding hands, Ethel instructed. You are my descendant, a woman's voice whispered. No body yet accompanied the voice. Rochelle squeezed Nelly's hand. Yes, Nelly said quickly. I am Nelden Hansen. My mother was Melinda Van Blood. I know that name, the voice said. Jess, please show yourself to us. You are among friends, Emma said. We've spoken before. The flame on each candle rose a few inches. A gale burst from the center of the table, hitting each woman so she turned her face. Well, he might have gotten his black eye. We're having a fun time today. We need nap times. Jess, please. The flame on each candle rose a few inches. A gale burst from the center of the table, hitting each woman so she turned her face. When they all turned back, they saw a woman sitting on her knees in the center of the table. She was wearing a blue summer dress. Her long white hair was tied into two braids, which came down to her waist. She had a heart-shaped face, high cheekbones, and a slim nose, a nose identical to Nelly's. You are of my blood. You know our secret. I am Jess Pedersen. She spoke to Nelly, but she turned to look at the other faces around the room. There was no wind now, yet everything from the hem of her dress to the stray hairs around her face seemed to float around Jess as though a gentle breeze blew all around her. When did you die? Nelly asked. I'm sorry. I died in June of 1940. Jess smiled. Why have you summoned me here? Jess looked at Nelly and cocked her head to the right. I'm a mermaid, but I don't know what to do. I don't know how to use my powers. There was so much Nelly wanted to say. She glanced around to the others in the circle and swallowed. My dad gave me a book when I told him I couldn't surf anymore. It's a journal. It has my mother's writing in it, but it also has the writing of many others. I need some help understanding it all. I am not a mermaid. The journal belonged to my daughter, Ron. My daughter. It was a gift from her father. Jess looked down and smiled. Her real father. As for not knowing how to use your powers, or whether to use them, Jess said, looking directly at Nelly, you might consider a living guide. You might always consider a living guide. How do I find one? Nelly asked. I think there is someone else to whom you should speak. I have brought her here with me. You will see her now. Jess smiled and bowed her head slightly before fading away. Can they do that? Emma asked. Sorry. Pause, please. Okay. Can they do that? Emma asked Ethel. Can they bring spirits you haven't summoned? They can, but it is uncommon. It takes a lot of power to bring someone with them, Ethel answered, her brows furrowing momentarily. Look, Rochelle said. A different woman was fading into view. There was no raising of flames, no sudden burst of wind. This woman was wearing gray sweatpants, maroon socks, a white t-shirt, and a dark blue unbuttoned plaid long-sleeve shirt. Her dark brown hair was fixed in a messy bun. She had a round face and the same nose as Nelly and Jess. Nelly. Nelly looked at the woman. Mom? Her voice broke.